Kataman Yifrach, Yifrach, Tzadik Kataman Yifrach, Tzadik Kataman Yifrach, Yifrach, Tzadik Kataman Yifrach, Ke'erez Bavanu Yiskel, Ke'erez Bavanu Yiskel, Ke'erez Bavanu Yiskel, Yiskel. 231, please, Psalm 150. Now, if you really look at this, we auto brought our instruments. So our instruments have to be our voices, or our beats, or our clapping. Because look at this. Shofar, lute and violin, drum and dance, strings, husky flute, cymbals. So this is a hallelujah. Hallelujah, 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 Epikasho, hallelujah, Birkiauzo, hallelujah, Bigurotov, hallelujah, Karov Gulo, hallelujah, 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 B'teka shofar, hallelujah, B'nega v'chinor, hallelujah, B'taf umachol, hallelujah, the meaning that God, hallelujah, 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 B'tzil tzlei shama, hallelujah, B'tzil tzlei truah, kol hanshama, tehallelujah, hallelujah, 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 kol hanshama, tehallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah, kol hanshama, tehallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. 2:35 before we get to the Baruch, and we really are getting closer to the Torah service, I promise. Nishmat, Kochai, Tzavarech et Shimcha, Adonai Eloheinu, Beruach kol basar Tzavarech, Utromei Zivrecha. The soul of every living thing that shall bless your name, eternal one, our God, the spirit of all flesh shall glorify, holding reverence continually in memory of you. Please turn to 247. 247. Actually, 246. It's just opposite. Under the line, where it says kavanah. Kavanah is about intention. It's about a feeling you have, passion, when you're thinking about something. And this is a Baruch Hu, and it goes like this. As we bless the source of life, so we are blessed. As we bless the source of life, so we are blessed. And the blessing gives us strength and makes our vision clear. And the blessing gives us peace and the courage to dare. As we bless the source of life, so we are blessed. And as I do the Fatima, look around you to see all the blessings that are in this room and outside. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, yotzer Let all beings acknowledge you, all cry praise to you, and all declare there is none as holy as the one. Let all beings hold you in highest reverence, you, the fashion of all. God who opens up each day, doors, the gateways from east, who bursts the windows of the heavens dome, bringing forth the sunlight from its place, and moonlight from concealed rest, providing light for the entire world and for its creatures, all of whom divinity, boundless love, brought into being. The bringer of light, tender care on the earth and its inhabitants, goodness is renewed each day, perpetually, creations and wonders work. And Bear, will you please come forth to help with the Shema and the Ahavta, page 277. And just keep in mind, the word Ahava, if you look at the bottom of the page, the Ahava is just before the Shema. There's also a little chant and it's about love. And that's what this is all about. Love. You can come right here. There you go. Okay.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shemiro, Mahuto, Le'olam Va'ed. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha, b'chol lavavcha, b'chol nafshecha, b'chol me'otecha, ve'hanu Adonai Ha'eleh, asher Adonai b'zechacha, hayom al-kavecha, v'shinatam l'necha, v'tibartam, v'shitecha, v'techa, v'lechtecha, v'aderet, v'shoftecha, v'unecha, v'shatam le'olam v'techa,
Now, there's another little section here that we go through real silently. And if you have a talis on, talit is our prayer shawl. If you don't, you might imagine bringing together, which we really would have done before the Shema, all the corners. Can you imagine? You can use your hands. What are you bringing together? Scattered parts of yourselves. And us, we can do with our tzitzit. All those commandments are right here. But you can do it any which way you want. You know, imagining bringing in those rough edges of your lives. As you think about how you plant seeds, hopefully, in the time that is necessary so that we get the plants when we want them, you know, when the rain comes. Let's look at 284, please. Imagine those tzitzit, even if you don't have one of these on. And let's read this together, please. 284. The boundless one told Moses, speak to the Israelites, tell them to make themselves tzitzit upon the corners of their clothes throughout their generations. Have them placed upon the corner tzitzit, a twine of royal blue. This is your tzitzit. Look at it and remember all the mitzvot of the Eternal One, and do them so you won't go off after the lusts of your heart, or after what catches your eye, so that you remember to do all my mitzvot and be holy for your God. I am the faithful one, your God, who brought you from Mitzrayim to be for you a God. I am the infinite, your God. That Mitzrayim, who knows what Mitzrayim is? We're going to be getting out of there soon. Next week. God, but actually it's the narrow place. Mitzrayim is Egypt. So what's our story of Egypt coming up? Mention it last session. Passover. Our Seder. We're going out of Egypt in the Seder very shortly. So that's what Mitzrayim is. It's a narrow place. All right? And hopefully we'll be able to get out of it, because one of the things that's in our prayer book is that story every time in this part of the service. And we do the Mi Chamocha, which is, what is the Mi Chamocha? We mentioned it last night. Who remembers? Didn't know you'd be tested today, did you? All right, so the Mi Chamocha is the song of the sea. And we're taken out of Egypt, Always, every day, any moment that we choose to get ourselves out of that narrow place. It's not always so easy, but every day. It's not just back at the sea. Page 291, please. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi chamocha neder ba'kodesh, nolati lo tosei ve'eleh. Mi chamocha, mi chamocha, mi chamocha, mi chamocha, mi chamocha, mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi chamocha, mi chamocha, mi chamocha. Mi kamocha, mi kamocha, mi kamocha, neder ba'kodesh, norati lo osei ve'eleh, norati lo osei ve'eleh, shira chadasha, shira chukulim l'shimcha, al sfatayam yachad kulam, hoduim lichu ve'amru, Adonai yimlo le'olam va'ed, Adonai yimlo le'olam va'ed. And it's a good time now, after we've come out of Egypt, to recognize we're now at the foot of Mount Sinai. That's what we are at the Amidah. This is what's called a standing prayer. And it's going to be silent this morning. But I encourage you to look out the windows. Face whichever way you want. You can even close your eyes. You can look at this beautiful artwork on page 293. This is God's unpronounceable name. It's called the Tetragrammaton. If you see that, Yud, in the middle, does it look like anything to you if you put that vav up there a little higher? It's actually a human form. But Tselem Elohim were created in the image of God. There it is. The vav is our spine. The hay is our shoulders and our arms. Yud's coming right down into our head. The final hay is our trunk and our legs. So if you're willing to stand, please, I'm just going to give you a little introduction. Face whichever way you want. Even though east is that way, I encourage you to look out the windows if you want to. Sur Yisrael, Tumav, Yezrat Yisrael, Uvdei, Yimecha, Yeda, Yisrael, Yohaleinu, Adonai, Tzvaot Shemo, Kedosh Yisrael, Baruch Atah Adonai, Ga'al Yisrael. And the Amidah, as you see, goes for many pages. Look at whatever you would like to next those pages, or simply offer your own prayers for a few minutes, and Barry, you're going to be coming up when we're done for the Oseh Shalom. So we're almost to the big moment. How's everybody doing? Wish everybody good Shabbos next to you. Whether or not you're Jewish, you should be mine. Say hello. Today, guys. And so page 7, 85, please, 86. And I am looking, please, for Paul Dabrowski, Bear's great uncle. Yeah. Reading The Days Come and Go, page 785 to 86.
The days come and go. Imperceptibly, our lives change. We grow older and are hardly aware of it. Our children grow up, and we hardly notice. Then, suddenly, we come to this time, and we realize that our sons and daughters are children no longer. They have become young men and women, ready to take their first step into adulthood. We are grateful that they have been able to bring them, that we have been able to bring them this far. We are thankful for the strength to cope with the stresses and responsibilities of rearing them. And we give thanks for the pleasure and the pride we have had.
And now I believe it's time for some of the family members to come up so we can pass the Torah from one generation to another. So I have on my list great-grandma Gertrude Sloan, grandparents Liz and Max Sloan, and if anybody needs to sit, you just bring a chair up. And I think grandparents are right here. Also, yes, Liz and Max Sloan, and the parents, Adam and Jessica. Diana, right too. Could everybody please rise? Forgive me. Oh my gosh. Thank you. We need all our teachers. When you live the Torah, you are supposed to stand. It is an amazing honor. And this is the honor. And the generations before it. Some of us talk about the Holocaust. And that any of us are here is so much more than a miracle. If you go back through thousands of years of our history and all the cultures that here we are. So great grandma, I'm going to hold this as I repass it and everybody touches it. You want to give a kiss? There you go. Trying to stay out of the way. The door by door, 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 the door by door, door by door, door by door, door by door, Nagita Lecha, Ulenetzach Lezachem, yeah. please, for a few minutes more. Stay. Because we're actually going to start the Torah service. And then we'll sit. If you don't mind, if you are unable, please sit at any time. But give us a minute. Barry's going to come back in a minute, and he's going to actually do some blessings. And if you need help holding it. Bear, we'll go around again, so you can return actually this time. Everybody will get a chance. Here, over here. All right, just thank you. We're going to sing for you from the okay? Is that okay? Okay. We're at page 393, over page 'Mitzvah at the third one. But he's not officially bar mitzvah yet, even though, how old are you now? 13. In a sense he is, right? And he will be chanting from the Torah, though, each of these verses, which, do they have it? Joanna, I'm so sorry. Do they have copies of it in the pamphlet or something? Okay. But he's actually officially called to the Torah for the third one.
Right, that's my element.
Please, you are welcome to each help with the others too
I don't
if you
have
want.
the names.
Oh, okay, then I
I have the
will.
third.
So this first one, please, grandparents, Mordechai ben Shlomo, Gertrude, Elisheva bat Yochanan ben Miriam, Ray and Diana Cunningham. Yamod, please rise and come to the Torah. And if you need to sit, always, we have a chair, or I will bring more chairs over. Thank you, Cantor.
Touch and kiss. Touch. There we go.
Baruch Adonai
Asher Kirvanu Le'avodato V'natan Lanu Et Torah Baruch Atah Adonai Notan HaTorah. Amen.
There's no microphone.
Oh, wait a second. Yeah. Steven, can you practice this part?
Still.
Oh, he's not gonna. He's on.
Now it's on.
Vayitaber Adonai el Moshe lemor Zot tieh Torah Tamid Torah Beyom Tohoato V'huvah el HaKohen V'yatza HaKohen el michutz la'machneh V'ra'ah HaKohen V'hinei Nirpad Mega Hatzarat Min Hatzarua.
This is
Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Asher natan lanu Torah Tamet V'chayei olam natan V'tohayeinu Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam.
And now we're going to do the parents, please. We'll rise for the second. Tavo Gita, Bat Mordechai, Elisheva, Adam Cunningham.
Baruch et Adonai HaBarach.
Baruch Adonai HaBarach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai HaBarach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Asher kirvanu la'avodato v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah.
So good.
Mitzvah HaKohen L'kach Lamitaher Shetzikorim Chayot Tehorot Ve'etz Erez Ushni Tolat באזור. וציווה הכהן ושחט את הציפור האחת אל כלי חרס על מים חיים. את הציפור החיה ייקח אותה ואת עץ הארץ את שני תולת בעת הזו וטבל אותם ואת הציפור החיה באדום הציפור השלחותה על המים החיים.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah temet v'chayei olam atah b'tocheinu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Life and kept from all trouble and affliction and from every harm or sickness. And may you find blessing and success in all your labors, along with all Israel, all their brothers and sisters. And let us say, Amen. I understand.
Yes.
So you may all return, please, before there's Torah reading, and we would please like everybody to stand as there is called to the Torah to
Yamod, Habachor Habar Mitzvah, Shlomo Ber, Ben Yentav Adam, Maftir, Chazak.
Chazak, which means strength. Chazak, chazak.
Kiss the Torah.
Look for mighty finding. Here are mighty finding. Right there. Can I have your pointer? What's that? Is mighty finding.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kirvanu la'avadato v'natan lanu et shorto. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah. V'hizah al mitaher min hatzarat sheva v'amim v'tiharo v'shalach et hatzipor hachaya el keli cheres al pnei hasadeh v'chibes hamitaber et begadav V'gilach et chol sha'aro et v'rachat b'mayim v'taher et v'char yavo el machaneh v'shavah.
Oh, wait, let him just find his place. Okay. How about there, right there? That's fine. Hatzipor.
Hatzipor hachaya al hamayim hachayim v'hazah Al hamitaher min hatzarat sheva pa'amim v'ti haro et hasipor hachaya al pnei hasadeh v'chi bes hamitaher et b'gadav Yuach et kol she'aro ve'et richat b'mayim v'taher ve'achar yavo el machna ve'yashav min chutz l'ohlo shiv'at yamim v'haya V'yom hashvi'i yilach et kol she'aro et rosho ve'et zikano ve'et gabot einav ve'et kol she'aro yigaleach v'chibes et begadav v'rchatz et bisaro b'mayim v'taher.
Fabulous.
Kiss the toe again.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'hayei olam nata betochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Please be seated. So we're going to call for the reading. Is that secure?
Excuse me, Margarita's family, please, English Torah translation. Margarita's family? Okay.
There we go. Just be very careful with the tablets.
The Lord spoke to Moses, saying, "This shall be the ritual for a leper at the time that he is to be cleansed. When it has been reported to the priest shall go outside the camp. If the priest sees that the leper has been healed of the scaly affection, the priest shall order 2 live clean birds, cedar wood, crimson stuff, and hyssop to be brought to him who is to be cleansed. The priest shall order one of the birds to be slaughtered over fresh water in an earthen vessel, and he shall take the live bird, along with the cedar wood and crimson stuff, and the hyssop, and dip them together with the live bird in the blood of the bird that was slaughtered over the fresh water. He shall then sprinkle it 7 times on him who is to be cleansed of the eruption, and cleanse him. He shall set the live bird free in the open country. The one to be cleansed shall wash his clothes, shave off all his hair, and bathe in water. Then he shall be clean. After that he may enter a camp, but he must remain outside his tent 7 days. On the 7th day he shall shave off all his hair of head, beard, and eyebrows. When he has shaved off all his hair, he shall wash his clothes and bathe his body in water. Then he shall be clean.
That's not reversed. You see, I was just called in the last 48 hours, so please forgive any little gaffes. Okay, I wanted to say one other thing too. I didn't really do the rest of the missionary after you. Before we come, please. Bear's going to now also read. Yes, I know. It's here we go. Haftarah, but I actually wanted to offer you the missionary, please. Okay?
Mishberach, Avotenu Abraham, Yitzchak, Yaakov, V'imotenu Sarah, Rivka, Rachel, Leah. May the one who blessed our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah, bless all of you. Bless you, bless you who have come today to be here to read and chant the Torah. And may you be forever blessed and merit all the wonderful things that anybody can have. Okay? And I just want to say, please, that some of you know this, but some of you don't. In the Torah, there are little letters and symbols like in that Amidah that I showed you, but there are no vowels. So Bear has spent months working with Harvey and the cantor, learning the words that have no vowels and sometimes no spaces, and you can't figure out where things begin and end. So he did amazing for that to have to happen up here that way. So I think we're going to be reading the Haftarah blessings in Hebrew, and then not this. Do you have a change to do it? Okay, we'll do prayer book. 4 of 9, the blessings would be 4 in prayer.
All Yom HaShabbat Hazeh שנתת לנו, אדוני אלוהינו, לקדושה ולמנוחה, להבוד, לתפארת. על הכל, אדוני אלוהינו, אנחנו מודים לך, ומברכים אותך, יתברך שמך, באפים כל חי, תמיד לעולם ועד, ברוך אתה אדוני, מקדש השבת.
Get there. Good job. You know what? I'm going to have you sit for a moment while we do the Hagabah and the Lila, and then Hannah. Here's Hannah. Hannah. We will need Hannah. Not too long from now with those sweet things, but we please would like to call up, I would like to call up Rose and Vanessa Schwatt and Darren Weinstock. Rose and Vanessa are going to Torah dress, and Darren is going to lift this thousands of years old. No, this one is not thousands of years old. You know, the story is though, that's written in there. Okay, so when Darren lifts this, please, I do ask again that you please rise in honor of the Torah. Shall we take it apart so we can open it slightly? Or leave it? Do you feel comfortable? Yeah. Wonderful. One of the things you're supposed to do is show for two columns of the Torah. If you're able to, I'm going to stand behind you.
You said 2 columns, right?
Well, one or two. Here we go. And then what? So we sometimes do da 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 da. Beautiful. You may be seated. Okay. Shall we put it on the table so we can return, Patrick? Sure. This would have been the time we would have put it in an ark. This is our ark for the day. Traveling ark. Thank you so much. Thank you very much. Thank you. And now, Sister Hannah. Now, one thing we want to say in this little adventure is, please really, this, if you're looking in my eyes, I mean, please be gentle. This is a loving thing you're doing, and don't take out any anger on this beautiful young man who's just becoming a bar mitzvah. Because one of the things that is traditional is sweetness. We want to wish this young man, who's now an adult, oh yay, the sweetness of life. Would anybody like to share some sweet blessings? Just throw out some blessings while some of you are just throwing this candy out. As to, then we're going to sing a Simon Tov, Mazel Tov. Why don't you throw out some blessings to there. I'm going to throw one out that he enjoy nature. It's kind of a blessing, because here we are tipped. Here I came the first day. Beautiful day. Anybody throw out those blessings? Bear's a great friend. Oh, Bear, friend.
He loves camping.
Thank you. What else?
He loves camping.
Loves camping. Pardon?
Loves to read.
And reading, blessings of reading and camping.
He's really smart.
he's almost finished.
Now, there's lunch soon. Appreciate the patience.
I hope he gets many opportunities in the future to recover again.
Yes.
Since he did it so long.
Yes, and then however he doesn't have to do it all the time.
Bear, I don't know if you noticed, but when you carried the Torah around the room Sunday,
Oh,
when you read and chanted from the Torah, the sun came out again. Blessings.
He's always happy.
yes.
He has amazing hair.
May the force of the hair stay with you. It is pretty gorgeous, isn't it? Sugar. And sugar, that's what we're going to be tossing, yes? A blessing of smiles. Okay, any other blessings?
A loving family.
A loving family. May we all have loving families or heal them. There's a wonderful loving person. A loving person.
An overall great person.
And wow, man, I gotta get to know you better. Wonderful part of our congregation. Oh, beer hugs. I love it. Yes. Yes. Okay. Like people. Anything else? Pardon? Nice to people. Excuse me. Thank you. Really important. Man, how does this feel, Mom and Dad? You're coming up. I know you're coming up. So the candy. I would like you to bear. Does Bear stand up for this? And you can always turn around. Please watch the eyes and don't hurt. on page 441, and then Bear is going to share some of his wisdom, which all of you say he has, in an explanation of what he just did. So 441, did I say? Yes, 441, Tree of Life.
Happy is the tree of life, to those who hold fast to it, and all of its supporters are happy. Shalom, 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 shalom.
coming or if you are online and for joining my bar mitzvah. This whole process has meant a lot to me. Through hard work and determination, I have gotten here. To this point of space-time, to 31 degrees north latitude, 83 degrees west latitude, to April 9th, 2022, to the 8th of Nisan, 5,782. Some people say your bar or bat mitzvah is about showing that you can do a service. I think it's about knowing that you can do it. If you put your mind to something realistic, it might happen. Today I read you all a section of Mitzvah from the book of Leviticus. Next week is Passover, Exodus. When did that happen? Leviticus is a book of rules that everyone followed. Mitzvah is about how to care for someone with a very infectious disease. They were trying, even though they knew almost nothing about this field of information. Caring for people is the right thing to do. This is like to Cunningham, killing the world. In many ways, my bar mitzvah is about killing the world. My bar mitzvah project, I'm planting flowers outside and keep what you're wearing. After the service, we are going to plant flowers outside at Tip Nature Preserve to try to heal the world. It was built on a landfill, and now it is a beautiful nature preserve that we see today because people worked hard to achieve this vision. I have always worn a kippah at synagogue to show my respect for God. In my bar mitzvah, I chose to support the Ugandan woman to get fresh water through these special kippot which you are wearing now. Each kippah brings safe water to one person for 1 year in Uganda via drink tap water, and hygiene and sanitation projects. My bar mitzvah is also about healing the world. My bar mitzvah project is also about healing the world. In my bar mitzvah project, I will be volunteering for an organization called Family Promise. Family Promise is a homeless shelter that lets families stay together. Most places have separate homeless shelters for men, have a separate homeless shelter for men and one for women and children. Today I read you a portion from Malachi in the Book of Prophets. In the book, God says through Malachi to everyone, if you don't do what he says, he will smite you. Malachi is the last prophet, which is a big change from changing. This is a big change from changing from prophets, where God speaks to one person, spread God's message. Now there are hundreds of rabbis who spread God's message. Malachi is talking about how nobody is being faithful, how nobody is upholding the temple. So Malachi's message is for people to be religious again. A big thank you to my mom and Mr. Horitz for helping me through this process. Mom for pushing me to practice and work hard, and to Mr. Horowitz for being so calm and patient. And thank you to my dad for helping me with everything. Thank you for the cantor for teaching me all the songs and prayers. Thank you to my grandma and grandpa and grandma and grandpa for always being there. Thank you to Hannah and Panina for being my sisters. Thank you to great grandma, great Aunt Rose, Aunt Becky, Aunt Jenny, Grandma Liz, and Grandma Mask for helping make the food today.
We're going to have a little more before you come up from Robert Villarala, please, to give us a little English translation from the Haftarah. Thank you.
Smelter and purger of silver, and he shall purify the descendants of Levi and refine them like gold and silver, so that they shall present offerings in righteousness. Then offerings of Judah and Jerusalem shall be pleasing to the Lord, as in the days of yore and the years of old. But first, I will step forward to contend against you, and I will act as a relentless accuser against those who have no fear of me, who practice sorcery, who commit adultery, who swear falsely, who cheat laborers of their hire, and who subvert the widow, orphan, and stranger, said the Lord of hosts. For I am the Lord, I have not changed, and you are the children of Jacob. You have not him, and of reverence which he showed me, for he stood and called my name. I forgot what it says.
That's it.
Okay.
Thank you for giving me from that tower. Mom and Dad, and Hannah says too.
What?
All right, I guess I'll go first. It was just yesterday that my friend Christina sent me a onesie for my newborn baby boy that read Bar Mitzvah 2022. At least it feels like only yesterday. There are big moments in your life that stay with you forever. There are big choices that lead to those big moments, and in between are tiny moments and tiny decisions that in ways you often do not even detect have had an impact as well. Today is a big moment. Today is one that Bear will carry with him the rest of his life. Bear has made many decisions that led to his bar mitzvah, the big decision to have one, but more importantly, the decision to devote his time and energy to studying and learning every day. Bear's Jewish education did not just begin last year, but started when he was born. Bear has always been interested in knowing more, learning where his interests take him, and finding joy in that learning. I am blessed that he has always found a joy in Judaism and has actively taken part in every holiday and activity that we celebrate together, including our weekly Shabbat celebrations. L'dor v'dor, from generation to generation. No, we did not talk about our speeches ahead of time. These words are so incredibly important. We pass our learning and joy from generation to generation. The Torah has continuously been passed through hard times and in happiness, and the next generation has picked up that Torah and has made it their own, grown traditions, made their own interpretations, and lived in the world in their own way. My mother's parents made a big decision for their family. They decided to break from their family to forge a life of their own, following their heart and converting into Judaism. They were Jews by choice and tried to impart that on their children. My father's parents suffered incomprehensible loss because they were Jewish. Against all odds, they survived. They came to Buffalo and forged a new life here, teaching their children to choose love and not hate, and to help people whenever and however we were able to. Bear was named after my grandfather, named Saul in immigration, but always reminding us that his real name was Bear. Bear has truly earned his great-grandfather's name. He is good with language. He loves to sell things. He could have been left-handed, but ended up right-handed. He is an outdoorsman. He has a true compass of what is right and wrong, but most importantly, he loves to help people. This bar mitzvah is a true reflection of the man you are becoming, Bear. Your love of nature and how you find spirituality in the world around you. Your care of people, even half the world away from you with the yarmulkes from Uganda. And your bar mitzvah project wanting to help homeless families here in Buffalo. You are always up to lend a helping hand either at home, at school, or even to just open the door for a stranger at the store. You are happy with simple pleasures, wanting stew and salad for your luncheon, and being so excited about getting the grape juice from the vineyard we went to in Put-in Bay, Ohio last year. Today, watching you chant from the Torah, I could not be prouder of you. I know that this is just the start of what is to come. This is your first step into manhood, the first big decision that will help to shape the rest of your life. I do not speak these words lightly or in jest. Your bar mitzvah sets a precedent. You can now hold yourself to a higher standard, knowing how much you are able to accomplish when you set your mind to it. Bear, you can do anything. Take risks with the big decisions and have fun with the small ones, and know that we are behind you every step of the way.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for coming. It means a lot to have you guys all here today. I appreciate that. As some of you know, I did not grow up Jewish, and I did not grow up knowing Jewish people and having Jewish people in my life. Therefore, a bar mitzvah was not one of the major milestones that I grew up with. With that said, I have come to know, understand, and feel that a bar mitzvah is one of the major milestones in life for a person who is raised Jewish. As some of you may also know, Jessica and I had decided long ago, before we were married, that we would raise our children in a Jewish tradition. From the time our son was born, we pictured this day of his bar mitzvah would come. I remember back in the time that I would come home from work for lunch when Bear was a baby. He was my only child, and I would get to spend a little time with him, holding and caring for him. I hoped and dreamed that he would one day make it to this point where we would mark this major milestone. For me, this moment is a bittersweet milestone. I am sad that gone are the days of my baby boy that I felt so blessed to be able to care for. What's so sweet is the feeling of being blessed. It is so sweet because I know that life does not guarantee that we will make it to such a day. I know that there is no guarantee that your child will be able to put in the work and maintain the focus to do the work required to prepare for a bar mitzvah. I am so proud of the focus I've seen from my son. I have seen him maintain months of preparation for his bar mitzvah, while also continuing to maintain more focus on his schooling and everything else than I ever have. I have mixed emotions as I am simultaneously so proud, but incredibly worried that he'll burn out. When I see the maturity that Bear has demonstrated in his approach to taking care of what he needs to, I have mixed feelings. I feel good. It seems that he's growing into a person who will be able to take care of himself. But I also feel sad that this undoubtedly means that the days of my little boy are fading. I know that this traditional milestone is where people say that today someone has become a man. I don't necessarily endorse that and believe it. I think it's unfair to have those sorts of expectations for a 13-year-old. Besides, from what I understand, somebody's frontal cortex is not fully developed until the age of 22. What I will say is that my son is no longer just purely a child, and he's starting his journey to become a man. Bear, I love you, and I'm so proud of you.
I have been Bear's little sister since I was born. In all that time, I've never seen him work this hard to complete something. Every day, I hear him practicing and working for this very day. For the last couple months, whenever something fun was suggested to him, he didn't go. Instead, he stayed home and practiced. All I know about this experience is that Bear worked really hard, and he deserves applause.
No other words are needed, however, I need to call Bruce up, please. And then Barbies.
Don't you sit there.
So I have the honor of representing the Temple Board in presenting Bear with the Temple gifts for his bar mitzvah. First of all, we have a Kiddush cup from Sisterhood and Men's Group that we hope you will use for every traditional Jewish occasion in your life. We have your bar mitzvah certificate, signed, suitable for framing. Do you have any Star Wars posters? No? What posters do you have? Well, it's suitable for framing. It goes well with any poster. As you get older, and you get into music that your parents don't like, you can hang it next to those posters too. Bear, by the way, said to me last night, he said, I'm expecting jokes. Tell a few, I don't mind. And I should tell you something. We've known Bear now since, he literally has grown up in our temple. He was a little kid with long hair. Now he's a big kid with long hair. In the middle, he was a medium-sized kid with shorter hair. I don't know how that happened. But I joke a lot in the summer when we have our services outdoors in the tent, and we have trees around, and there's always deer roaming around and stuff like that. When the deer come over the tent, I say, oh, they're expecting we're doing a bear mitzvah tonight. So today, we're doing a bear mitzvah. And the bear has symbolism in Judaism. I don't know if you guys know this, but a rabbi's beard is very often grizzly. Brisket is brown. And when a service can be a little bit of chaotic, it's pandemonium. Anyway, I'll leave you with this. A rabbi was walking through the woods, and he came across a bear. And by the way, the end punchline, only the Jewish people will get it, but that's okay. So this bear is roaming, is in the woods, starts chasing the rabbi. The rabbi runs into a cave. He said, I'll get away from the bear this way. And the bear follows him into the cave. And the rabbi says, oh no, now I'm trapped. And the bear's going to eat me and I'm going to die. So he gets down on his knees and he prays. And he prays the Shema and he says, God, if you're going to take me now, I've lived a good life. And the bear starts praying in Hebrew as well. And the rabbi says, thank you, God, you've trapped me with a Jewish bear. I'm going to survive. And then he hears the last words of the rabbi's prayer, which is, Hamotzi lechem min ha'oretz. And he says, uh-oh. For those of you that don't know, that's the prayer that we do before we eat something. Mazel tov. Does that work?
There, you described in detail how we get to today and where we're located, but you left off something else that's important about today. Today is Shabbat Hagadol. In the old days, I mean really old, before even your grandparents' time, and even before my time, the rabbis did not give sermons every week. They gave sermons just twice a year. There was a sermon, you might guess, on Yom Kippur. Yom Kippur would say the prayer in the Tana Tokef, who will live, God decides who will live, who will die, who will become rich, who will become poor, who will die by strangling, who will die by fire, who will die by thirst, etc., etc. So that's one of the key sermons that the rabbi would give every year. The other special day for the rabbi's sermon is today, Shabbat Hagadol. And that was the day, since it's the Shabbat before Passover, that the rabbi would remind and review the congregation all the intricate laws of how to observe Passover properly. And if you've ever been experienced through a strict observance of Passover, it involves not only cleaning out the house, but going through with a candle and a feather the night before, Thursday night this year, searching for crumbs. There's a lot to it. Cleaning the oven with a blowtorch, covering all the kitchen counters. It goes on and on and on, and that was one of the rabbi's main sermons. So you may wonder, you had a Torah portion about leprosy. You had a Haftarah. Was it your cousin who read the translation of it? Didn't mention anything about leprosy. Actually, at the end, the last two verses mention Elijah the prophet. And there's the key. Elijah the prophet is going to be the harbinger of Passover. You know at your Seder, there's a glass cup for Eliyahu Hanavi. Whenever you attend a Havdalah service, we include Eliyahu Hanavi. We sing Eliyahu Hanavi. And you know every song. Every song I ever mention, he knows, he can sing it for you. You've been an amazing student. Sometimes, the couple times that you were not prepared, I wondered if you really weren't prepared, because maybe you were busy, I understand that, or I think he was toying with me. Because the next week he did an amazing job. It's like he was working 24/7. 2 weeks of preparation just during that 1 week. Everybody should know that the Torah that was used today is our portable Torah. and he's never seen it before. Every Torah is different. They're written by hand, by a scribe, as Yanina mentioned. But the words are in a different place. The font is different. The handwriting is different. So I always have trouble reading out the Torah myself. One, because it's light, it means the print is small. And with my old eyes, I can't even see it. I have to use a magnifying glass to read from that Torah. I have to memorize what I'm going to read. So he really did an amazing job today. And I wish you luck in everything you do. When you wear that talit, I hope you will remember the joy you brought all of your friends and relatives this day. And these gifts that you got, like the wine cup, I have to check with Bruce, our president, but for most temples, there's a lifetime warranty. If you wear it out by using it too much, temple will replace it for you. Mazel tov.
We are coming in for a landing, we promise. Thank you, everyone, for your beautiful words. Would you please come up one more time before the end? And we do have another reading in a moment. So, Kennedy's not feeling too well, so if you can imagine he's reaching over here, okay? I'm going to sort of give a blessing to you. May God bless you and keep you. Yaher Adonai, Panav Elecha V'chunecha. May God look kindly upon you and be gracious to you. Isa Adonai, Isa Adonai, Panav Elecha V'yasem Lecha, V'yasem May God reach out to you in tenderness and in peace and as much as this community has today. Take a seat again and then call. I'm not sure if your friends or relatives are please calling up. Kirk, Rebecca, Madeline, oh, they're friends. Kirk, Rebecca, Madeline, Charlotte, Koenig, or Koenig, Bear's uncle, aunt, and cousins to read 772, please. Social action.
We cannot merely pray to God to end war, for we know you made this world in a way that we must find our own pathways within ourselves and with our neighbors. We cannot merely pray to you, God, to root out prejudice, for you have already given us eyes with which to see the good and wrong, and we will hold it.
We cannot merely pray to you, God, to end starvation, for you have already given us the resources with which to feed the entire world, if we would only use them wisely.
We cannot merely pray to you, God, to end despair, for you have already given us the power to clear away slums and to give hope, if we would only use our power justly.
We cannot merely pray to you, God, to end disease, for you have already given us grapevines, with which to search out cures and healings, if we would only use them constructively. Therefore, we pray to you instead, God, for strength, determination, and willpower, to do instead of just to pray, to come instead of merely to wish.
It was adapted by Jack Reamer, right? And it was called Social Action.
Thank you very much. Thank you. And Aunt Jennifer, please. Aunt Jennifer is going to read 761, page 761.
This reading was written by the scientist Albert Einstein on the Jewish conception of life. He wrote, "The essence of the Jewish conception of life seems to me to lie in an affirmative attitude to the life of all creation. The life of the individual has meaning only insofar as it aids in making the life of every living thing nobler and more meaningful. Life is sacred. That is to say, it is the supreme value to which all other values are subordinate. The hallowing of the super-individual life brings in its train a reverence for everything spiritual, a particularly characteristic feature of the Jewish tradition. But the Jewish tradition also contains something else, something which finds splendid expression in many of the Psalms, namely a sort of intoxicated joy and amazement at the beauty and the grandeur of the world, of which humankind can just form a faint notion. It is the feeling for which true scientific research draws its spiritual substance, which also seems to find expression in the leafy trees and in the crash of waves. On a related note, I just wanted to say how pleased we've been that you've taken such a strong interest already in your life inside of the natural sciences, and how proud we are of you, everything you've already accomplished here. You agree?
Thank you so much. Thank you for paying such close attention. Please, thank you. While we turn to 4:45, please, I invite the children gently and quickly to come up, please, and pick up the candies. Okay? We're looking at 4:45. Come, yes, we need come now. We're getting ready for the unveiling. After the children, I go again. We'll be looking at page 445 and 447 after this, followed by Mourner's Kaddish and a donor moment. And I know they're all going to share. Oh, if they're putting it back in the basket. Sharing baskets afterwards. Okay, good job. Wonderful. And it's wonderful to see so many young people. And I suspect there'll be more, it'll be afterwards. You can also get it after your meal or before. Oh, thank you. Please rise for the unlaying. Unlaying the Shabbat, Ladon, Hakol, Latet, Gedula, Le'Zereshi, Shanatatan, in the Torah, Temet, V'chayei Olam, Nata, V'tochenu, V'anachnu Korim, U'mishtabim, Kodim, Lifnei Melech, Malkei HaMachim, HaKadosh, Baruch Hu. Page 449. Please be seated. And it is written, the everlasting one will reign, the sovereign over all the earth. On that day shall many names be one, God's name be one. And we move into the mourner's Kaddish, remembering those loved ones of ours who are no longer here in body, but in spirit. And I do wonder if there are any names of those you are remembering in a yard site or for Kaddish, please.
Brian Kirkby.
Brian, okay, thank you. Do you want to just say who it is? Please?
My uncle.
Thank you, thank you. For those whose tradition it is to rise to support the mourner, please do so. Or for those who say, for those who have known to say the mourner's Kaddish, please rise. Yit Kadal, v'yit Kadash, Shem Yerah. V'yalma divrach v'yutei, v'yamlich malchutei. V'chayekom u'v'mechom v'chayei kol Beit Yisrael. Ba'agala v'zman kariv v'yimiru. Amen.
Yehei Shmei Rabba Mevorach Li'olam Lamei Amayah. Yiparach V'yishtabach V'yipa'ar V'yifamam V'yinaseh. V'yitadar V'yitaler V'yitalal Shmei Kurusha Rihu. Le'ela Minko V'chata V'shirata. Tushbachata V'nechamata. Da'miran V'yama V'yimru. Amen. Yehei Shlama Rabba Min Shemaya. V'chayiv Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael V'yiru. Amen. Oseh Shalom V'yimra. Hu Yaseh Shalom. Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael V'yiru. Amen. V'al Kol Yoshvei Tevel V'yiru. Amen. Please be seated. May the one who creates harmony, love, and peace for us and for all Israel and for all who dwell on earth and say, Amen. All this work, everyone has done. For how many years? Oh yeah, it doesn't end. Please, come on up. I think we got everybody? Yeah. Thank you. And thank you all for being here for Bear. So Bear, I know, knows the echo of Don't Alone, please, page 459. Are you ready? I don't know, I share a lot, the terrible, it's here, wrong, the ache, the sun, the cups of cold, I don't know, Achare, Kidlot, Hardcore, Live I don't know, I don't know, Vehu Hayam, Vehu Hoven, Vehu Yem Betifara, I don't know, I don't know, I share a lot, the terrible, you see, we dry it here, we find the lateness of the cold. As I'm an election only rock, I don't know, Vehu Echad, they ain't shame me. L'Angelo, Nahar, Virak, I don't know love. Beli Reshit, Beli Tachlit, Velo Avos, V'Ham Yisrael, I don't know love. I don't know love. I share a lot. B'terem kol, Tzir Nivra, Yitzir Nivra, Le'Nasah, As I'm a Lashon, I don't know love. I just did the chorus here too. Let's go keep up it soon. Have the it's a rock. The who we see, Uman sleep. Menakasi Leonara. I don't know love. I don't know. I share a lot. The terrible, it's in me right, As I'm a election on the I don't know the Yado of Hebrew, the Yetishan, the Ahira, I don't know love, the Imruchi, Gaviati, I don't know if the Lovira, I don't know love, I don't know love, I share a lot, the terrible, it's in the As I'm an action only rock, I don't know love. Do you have any instructions for us after this?
Thank you all for being here. So now we have to do a quick change. If anyone feels like helping move some chairs, we're going to inch the table this way and move the chairs to the tables, and then we shall do some pictures, and then
One last thing, remember to mention the Motzi and where they have prayer books.
the prayer books, that's pile on that table over there.
And the Motzi, so will be please.
And you can make sure you have your key vote, and you can take those. Those are, they have Bear's name in it and the date, and it's like a collection.
Shabbat.